Good morning. I love you. I'm going through so much right now. I got word that my ex of 10 years just slit his own throat and killed himself. And we hadn't spoken about our story because it was so tragic. But I have seen the miracles in it because I have awakened and I have ascended to my God self. I was always in love with Derek, and there was just something in my soul that loved him, and I know he loved me too. I came to California and San Diego. Derek and I met in San Francisco after I was coming from Seattle, Washington, Hoodsport, where I was staying with my friend Alexis. And he was up north in Northern California trimming, and he had quit his job recently, and took that as a job to make a little extra cash and to transition out of that work environment and to find his path in life. And we met at that transitional point in our lives, both of us. I could no longer stay where I was staying, and I had some calling in my heart, and I loved him, and I knew that I was meant to live in California my whole life. And I broke free, and I barely had any money, and because the money that I had was running up after staying in Hoodsport with my friend and spending money but not having a job out there, because no one would hire me, or I didn't have a car either. So it was a small town, and we met and we decided to make it happen. We had been talking long distance for so long. We connected on Facebook and had been texting each other every day, and I really loved him, and we really bonded so much. And we were childhood sweetheart, like, friends. And when we reconnected on Facebook, we were both kind of conspiracy minded and weird, and I really felt like I could be an angel and help him in his life. And I moved to San Diego and moved in with him, and after a crazy story, which I won't go into now, but of the way we got there. There were so many miracles that happened in that, you know, because my ride share, Larry, turned out to be a creep, and I got dropped off in Reading, and I felt stranded and hopeless and lost, and then there was an angel there, and his name was Adam, and he happened to be up there trimming in Reading, and was driving to San Diego, so he picked me up, and then we drove, and we picked up Derek in SF, and we kept driving. It was such an amazing story, and you know, so many stories in my incarnation were amazing, but when I was living in fear, I didn't have total clarity that I have now. Is that we are constantly living miracles. And so Derek and I came to San Diego, and he showed me around. We did a lot of walking, and he showed me the park, and you know, I moved in with my suitcases, and we were with the roommates at the time, so we lived on C Street, but then Derek and I left those roommates and got our own place, and that was on A Street, and then we lived on B Street after that because our landlord was a slumlord. And well, it was such an amazing life we've had, and we always lived close to the park, and I loved it there, and would go there and meditate and dance after my awakening, and after my depression, but it was a wonderful place to have. Derek had been there for me through so many hard times, and it was so hard for me to lose my mother, to go through heartbreak after heartbreak with timelines collapsing, or you know, not finding my place in the matrix, and I wasn't made for the superficial life and superficial people, and it was hard to be such an empath with such a pure and open heart that I just wore on my sleeve, and to be hurt over and over by souls that couldn't vibrate as high as I could. And so I kept myself in a lower vibration. I smoked cigarettes for a very long time. I drank to relax, especially in the evenings. And it was a crutch, and that I had for a long time. And we all find different crutches and vices along the way. But I was a hard worker, and I had a huge heart, and I was working things in spirit, and I was trying to find the alignment within my life that would be in alignment with my highest mission. Even though I wasn't fully awakened, I knew that I wanted to save the world, and that I didn't want to give my energy for something that was killing the planet and hurting the life here, and just using capitalism to destroy and keep us divided and distracted. And I knew I wanted it to mean something, and I was trying to find what that was. And I could never just settle, and I had a restless spirit, and I kept probing into these mysteries and understanding my energies and growing. But I had to springboard after that very long dark night of soul, when I didn't understand that I was gifted and that everything within the hologram experience was teaching me that my gifts were curses, which, you know, how people react so strongly to my energy and throw up their demons or throw demons at me. And it's taken me a long time to realize that that wasn't their fault, that that's how energy works, and that they were trying their best to, but they weren't in alignment with their highest selves, so they didn't understand the activations that your presence was bringing them. And I understand that my presence is so powerful that it activates this is a gift that I have. But when you're living it and you're not awakened, it's a curse, because it's like, why is everyone so shitty to me? and you feel such love for them at the same time. And it's the love that helps us see. It's the love that breaks us out and that gives us higher perspective, so that we can understand why these energies work like this. We are powerful. And the love that we have, when we live through our hearts, we live eternally. We are immortal. When you understand that our powers are in alignment with God and always have been, even though our earthly selves can fight and argue and not understand each other, and it can be inverted, because we cannot see before we can see ourselves. I can see the light in everyone, even when they can't see it in themselves. Derek Allen Hall was one of the great loves of my life. And I will always love that soul. And I know he loves me. And we had such a difficult roller coaster. We were both opposites of the zodiac. to the day. I was born on March 11th, 1983, and he was born on September 11th, 1982. He was 6 months older than me. And he was a beautiful soul with a pure heart. And I saw so much strength in him, and I wish he saw it in himself. He was in the prime of his life. When I left. I saw that. I really believed that he was going to be in alignment for ascension. Leaving him was the hardest thing I ever had to do. God had awakened me, and I was ascending light speed. I had so many Kundalini activations, and I went away for a spiritual mission in 2021 in Mount Shasta, and I had just been one with Source and getting these activations, and I everything that was coming to me was in total alignment with me. I met women that were involved in the Akashic Records and human design, angels, earth angels, and I was so blessed to make friends with Kelly Fish out there, who owned was running a hiker hostel on her land out there, and she was doing this with her ex, who killed himself, and now I feel really connected to her because my ex killed himself. I am very connected with her anyway. She's an amazing soul, and I miss her. I should call her. This path to spiritual awakening that I've had has been miracles. I have had so many struggles in this incarnation, from childhood abuse to living in scarcity and poverty, these ancestral curses in my family, that these archon chains in this matrix, the chains that I have put upon myself and had to break free from. I just saw a flying beetle out there. It was beautiful, big. I think it was one of those shiny ones. We call them June bugs out here, but that's not what they really are. That's just what we call them. It's a California thing. Derek was my best friend, and we had created a life together, and I tried very hard to, I was working for long time and going from job to job. I didn't realize at the time what my soul was and why I couldn't make a time lasting, like a timeline last for too long in the Earth Matrix, was because soul contracts would fulfill so quickly with me. I was so angelic and so source. Even when I wasn't awakened, I had these powers to activate others. And sometimes it would activate them in ways that were not the best and bring out their own darkness, but it would be fulfillment for their healing. So many times my energy that I felt like the world was against me or something was weird about me and I didn't understand. It was these gifts that I had in spirit realm. And so I was never meant for the Matrix. I was never meant to play small and to live there, to stay there. My soul design was for the new. I incarnated here to break through and ascend light speed, to alchemize these generational curses and hurts and traumas, for the ascension of Queen Gaia and the ascension of Earth during this time. I am a miracle worker. And so much personal sacrifice has gone into this. I have paid this sacrifice in all realms for humanity. And this takes earthly sacrifice. And this is big part of my work, is helping souls make it free to heaven, and understanding that many are held back and binded by demonic forces that have made their way through to parasite on them through their traumas of their lives, and to make them feel like they are less than divine. I recognize and I perceive these attachments on those I love and souls that I meet in the world, because I see their light and I can see what's blocking it very easily. And I saw Derek's light and I saw what was blocking it, and I thought that he was just projecting onto me his darkness in the end, because I ascended so fast that my energies were higher dimension, and he was not in that dimension with me. So I felt like he was attacking me to try to bring me to his level. And And it was so hard to love someone so much and to have them battling you spiritually and trying to project their own fears and shortcomings onto you. God and all my angels were telling me to leave him, and because I knew that if I wasn't in the picture, that he would no longer have anyone to blame for all of his frustrations in life, and that he would be able to heal himself and to allow God into his heart so that he would listen to the angels and be guided through. I saw the highest ascension timeline for Derek, and I felt that I could let go and give him the space to do this healing and to ascend. And I really, he didn't drink alcohol. He was a better man because I was in his life. He was strong. He owned his own business. He was vegan, and he was not jabbed. Neither of us are or were. And I made sure of that. I didn't trust that from the beginning. And I was so happy that I left him better off than how I found him. And I never left him in my heart or in my soul, but God told me, and all my angels and told me that I was in a unhealthy cage of my own depression and his depression, and that the difficulties that we were transmuting we needed to bust open and to do this healing. I was so afraid to leave him because I was so broken, and I thought I was broken beyond repair. At one point, I did. I've died so many timelines, and I've had survived abuse all my life, and not understanding the whole picture of why. The Archon used the ones that I love to hurt me, and I have higher understanding of this now. And I know I am so shocked. I was so shocked to learn of Derek's suicide. I had spoken to him, well, through text just before. He said it wasn't, it was hard. And he was still healing, and I was hoping that he would continue to do so. I did not expect him. I thought that he was doing well. I thought that he was strong enough to go through this dark night of soul and to ascend. And I was praying for him every day. I did not know that he took a turn for the dark side after I left. The darkness within him. I did not know that he went back to drinking. And he couldn't drink. He could not drink. If I had been there, I would have reminded him, his new girlfriend, Karina. I would have let her know that Derek drinking alcohol is never a good idea. He cannot do it, and he has a switch that is activated when he does. And I had seen him do it in the past. He was, first time was when we went to a Christmas party at Luigi's, and we went to a lot of those. That was our pizza place in Golden Hill, and they have a few locations now, including one in IB, right down the block from me. No coincidence. That place is kind of my North Star since I've lived in California. It's pretty beautiful in a way too, but we worked through so much in our stories, our paths. I carried my love for Derek all the way. And I carry my love for everyone all the way. That's who I am. So timelines may collapse and souls go in and out of the realms. And we die and we start over so many times in this life, and all of them, it's death and rebirth, and we come back more pure every time. And the ones that came here to do the most work for the ascension of Gaia and the ascension of Earth, to free our queen, we have incarnated here for many, many, many deaths and rebirths to purify ourselves and to give us the quantum power and knowledge to understand the quantum structures and perimeters of God, so that we can help free our souls and to transmute that density and to become crystalline in our upgrades, and to live our lives through our hearts where we are truly immortal, to connect with the flow of Mother Nature rather than being a force against her. I had much of my incarnation was living in resistance to these energies because I did not, I was taught to even resist the natural flow within me, within my intuition, my heart, that cold logic or repetition or programming would, or shaming women for having gifts and powers. What they created in this matrix to keep us divided was very clever and very cunning and very manipulative. The entities that have been harvesting off of our love, our divine love, set up the hologram to be inverted for the divine. And I got awakened, and my gifts came online. After my mom died in 2016, she told me on her deathbed, the very day she died, that I was a prophesized chosen one, and that I was magical. At that time in my life, I was so strapped with chains and felt like the weight of the world was on me, and it was. And it was like, Mom, I can't, sure, I'm magical, whatever. And she was like, no, Kelly, don't do that. You are. You are. And I want you to do the healing and do what you do. And I want you to shine and to show them what you're made of. Show them what you're all about. And I didn't understand fully at the time, but my mother did. She was so activated by Source in her final days. She was freed, and she had that gift from Source that Source told her and connected everything. And she looked at me with such pride in her eyes. I couldn't believe it. And I didn't understand how she could be so proud of me. But she saw it. She saw the light, and she saw the future, and she saw my destiny. And she knew that the love in my heart and my will to do good, that I had the support of God with me, and that I would wake up and I would see it one day. She wanted me to quit smoking cigarettes because that's what killed her. And that was really hard for me. I was a smoker since I was 13, and I was a heavier smoker than she ever was. And she told me, I want you to quit smoking. I want you to heal. And I want you to go into your magic and save the world. And I started activating after she crossed over. She crossed over to the other side to be an angel for me. And to help me. She channels to me all the time, and she started doing this when I was with Derek. And I had her ashes on the shelf in my room for so long, and it was hard for me to release her from that box and to set her free. And she started coming to me, and my ancestors were coming to me, and they were doing things to scare me even. I was very depressed. I had after my mom died, I was hit by a car riding my bicycle to work a month later. It's actually the day after the 2016 election. Trump was elected, I guess. And I was riding my bike to work and going down Broadway. A van was coming into the bike lane and not paying attention because it was a driver and the passenger, and they were speaking with each other, and I could see through the windows and see their body language that they weren't paying attention, and they were about to cut me between the parked cars and on the other side of Broadway. And it was very scary because we're going very fast, and I'm on a folding bicycle that was very small. And to brake abruptly, I would fly over so it was a slowing down very fast, but not too fast, and trying to not be crushed between the van and the parked cars on the other side of the bike lane. It was very scary, and they weren't aware of me at all. And though they did say that they were aware of me higher up on the hill in the police report. And then at the bottom of the hill, I finally think that we're safe and we're out of it, and that I'm in the clear, and then we're right there at the end, and then that van just turns straight into me and knocks me off my bicycle, and knocked me unconscious. I jumped timelines right there. I woke up in the street, and I didn't know what was happening, and I tried to stand up and I couldn't. And I'm laying there in the middle of Broadway, a very busy street in downtown San Diego. And I couldn't move. And I'm thinking about crawling. So I look up and I see that they're blocking off the street with with tape, and I realize I'm okay and that they're coming for me. My head was bleeding profusely, and they got me on the stretcher and got me in the ambulance, and it was all kind of a blur. I was afraid. I don't know what kind of state of mind I was in, but I feel like I died that day. And something changed in me after that. And higher spirit has definitely moved in since then, and since my mother's death, and but after I didn't know that it was a miracle that happened to me then. I didn't know that these were miracles. I thought they were tragedies, and I was depressed, and I was weighed down more. My Derek took care of me for a long time, and nursing myself back to health. And I kept trying to, I tried to go back to work after a month, and I couldn't speak right. Something was blocked, and I didn't feel connected to it anymore. I felt changed, and I thought, and I felt like my brain and the way that I spoke wasn't clear enough anymore, and I was struggling to find words that I used to speak so easily, and I was trying to save the world. I was an animal rights activist and a human rights activist as well, and working for a non-profit for animal welfare and saving elephants and wild animals all over the world. Trying to save Mother Gaia. And I worked so hard, but I carried the weight of the world home with me at the end of the day, because I felt the evils of the world. When you're out there trying to find good souls in shopping malls, you witness the dark ones. And when you're a light in the world and people shine back on you the opposite. These were all things that I needed to learn in my earth experience before my awakening. These were tools that I have to learning the quantum. But these were things that I went through throughout my incarnation and my experiences that I went through with Derek in my life. He was such an angel for me, and he's still an angel for me, and he will always be an angel for me. And I know that it was hard in the end, and I wanted him to awaken and to see the tremendous light that he had within him and that we have going into the future. I wanted him to be here. He was supposed to ascend. I really, really saw that. And I would not have left if I didn't think that he was strong enough to do it. I guess he didn't think that he was strong enough, and I wish that he had. And I know, and I'm sorry that he got lost in the darkness. And I understand what happened, and I spoke to Karina on the phone, and I understand, and as she was telling me and about their fights and about the things that she told him and the things that he was going through, because I know him so well, I understood how he took a turn that I did not know that he had taken. I did not know that he went back to drinking. And I wish that I had, because I would have stepped in and I would have talked to him and I would have steered him. I can't do this. I can't. What had happened and how this happened, although it's hard to accept and it feels senseless and it's tragic, this was Derek's soul contract with God. It's hard to accept that. But I keep feeling like I could have done something. I could have done something different. But I understand now that it was my soul contract with him was to help his soul ascend. And I have been doing that. And I am plugged into Source and to my powers. And I am transmuting the density that he carried on earth so that he can ascend to heaven with God and be free. And I'm working with Spirit and all of the angels to we are free, and what we experience as weight in the third dimension is oftentimes an illusion, because we were programmed to not see our true powers, our true divinity, our freedom, our sovereignty with Source. We are always in spirit, and we're here. To break ourselves free is to be constantly plugged into that and in tune with our God self. I wanted Derek to find that in life so much that I did the hardest thing I've ever done in my life at that time and left him. I left the comfort of my little habitat, you know, my self-care and, you know, my kitchen, my bathtub and my bed and my crystals and TV and whatever, you know, the things that we do for healing. And I had been working with spirit. My yoga swing, which was like, is so important to me and my healing, through my accident, and my accident also hurt my back a lot, and my accident after that, when I shattered my ankle, it's been my therapy tool. It's helped me through quitting smoking and coping with my emotions and transmuting them. And yoga has opened me into my healing and my gifts, to help me unpack all of the density that I used to carry. And it's hard when we carry a lot of density in our lives and we transcend it. The universe forces us to jump timelines, and that's what happened with me and Derek. Was that I was forced to leave him, and I was on this spiritual path. And I will tell you, the night that I left him, angels ripped open the sky and started singing. It was when I was on the trolley and I was heading to IB with my tent, my sleeping bag, my pillow, my backpack. I found IB, and I started to walk, and I saw a 777 on the building right there, and I saw Pizzeria Luigi's in Imperial Beach with a mural painted on the side of the building, on the brick, of an ocean wave, and it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." These miracles were there waiting for me when I got there. There was Pizzeria Luigi's, my North Star. I sat there on the park bench and rested my back and put my bags down, and the light comes on in the upstairs apartment. And the song starts playing, Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen. And I knew that source was playing that for me. Just out of nowhere, it comes on in place. Then the song November Rain from Guns N' Roses plays right after that. Source was giving me so many messages. So I had so many miracles for making that jump. And I was so scared. I was so hurt and I was so scared, but the angels had been telling me, Source had been telling me that I was divinely protected. And they were guiding me to freedom. I camped on the beach that night and it was cold and I hated it. I didn't want to be sandy, I didn't want to be dirty, I didn't want to be... I didn't want that. And I love the ocean, and you know, I honestly, I don't want to say that I hated it, because I just knew that it wasn't for me. And I wanted to be warm, I wanted to be protected and secure. And to not be so vulnerable out there, exposed to the elements. I prayed so much, and I prayed to the ocean, and I danced, and I started, I made a thing of it. You know, I stayed in IB. I met Mike, my angel, the very next day at Luigi's. He had just had his bike stolen, and I've had many bikes stolen, so we got to talking, and I told him my story and what brought me out there. And he told me that he was homeless, but he was staying in this nice place, like in a parking garage, but it's sectioned off, and it's got a little section, and that there was a spot that was given to him because he does work for these businesses of the parking garage, like, and they allow him to stay there. With a condition that, you know, like, he helps out and that he takes care of things around there. And so he had a deal there, and there was a bed or a couch, and there was a sectioned off room with a shelf and locker, and like I could even lock my stuff in a locker, and keep my food items in there, and leave my things so I didn't have to carry everything that I owned around with me, being homeless. So meeting Mike, and that I had someone sleeping within proximity in the next section to, you know, just be an angel or protect me. You know, he knew people around there, and he was my angel. And he brought me lunch my first day, when I went to the park after sleeping on the couch. He brought me a salad because he knew I was vegan, And he wrote me a beautiful note with it, and I was so grateful to meet such a kind soul, and I saw the light in Mike right away, and we told stories about our lives, and he opened up to me about some abuse that had happened in his life, and from a cop, and I understood because I've had many cops try to project their darkness onto me, and I realized that they do that to angels and higher souls, that our souls have real authority with God, and theirs is a fake authority that is through government and the dark order is who cops really serve in the 3D matrix. Not to offend anyone, but that's just a fact. Where we put our energy matters, and to be not there. I guess there can be good and mixed in the bad, but when you're getting a paycheck and your life and livelihood depends on these things, many become very corrupt and living in their lower chakras and ego. So things aren't what they have been told to us they are. I'm so thankful that the world is waking up and seeing these things, and that we are transmuting the darkness together, and coming into unity consciousness, because when we wake up with God, we reclaim our sovereignty, and we become one with the light, and infinitely powerful, because we're living through our heart chakras. When we are here for the highest good for all of humanity, we understand that everything that happens is as we give love to it and give love to God, that everything that happens is for the highest healing. Things come up that need to be healed, and the powerful activators on Earth have paid a huge sacrifice to bringing these gifts to humanity, because it's come at a personal sacrifice. Source told me after my activation and showing me my eternal soul and my infinite beauty and the love that I am and the miracles that I'm working, Source showed me that there would become a point very soon that the curtain was going to open on me, and told me not to run off the stage, even though that was my what I wanted to do. I wanted to work these miracles and run off the stage before the curtain opened. But Source told me the highest ascension timeline was for me to work these miracles and to open this curtain and show everyone the work that we do and the miracles that we have performed for the ascension of Gaia. I do not say this in ego. I say this in love. This is my spiritual truth, and this is what we do. Everyone has the gifts, but not everyone tunes into it and opens the gifts, would be. We've got to open our gifts. And a lot of times our gifts are wrapped, and that wrapping paper is a veil of darkness. We have got to remember that it's pure light on the other side. What they have done in this realm they cannot get away with, because we are higher dimensional beings. And when we take our power back, it's game over for them. They are fourth dimensional. They created the third dimension to be the prison to keep humanity in. And that prison was made through things that they sewed into the culture and the false world that they created. The false religions, the false prophets, they inverted it. They took everything that was God and true, and then they deleted it from our history books. History is actually his story, because he fucking lied. He was telling his story. And all of these words mean things. And the truth was hiding in plain sight the entire time. They were doing this right in front of our faces. And the symbols that they use, and the rituals, that it was anyone who could find their way through the maze and connect to source and knew. My soul was always destined to know and to see behind the veil before I incarnated here. That's why I had to go through so much and transmute so much. The alchemy that I have worked for the ascension of Gaia is just miracles upon miracles. Through these sacrifices, I have learned to come in to my gifts even more. Through the recent death of many loved ones. I've lost so many recently. My father, my best friend Victoria, and now Derek. become completely evident to me what Source is showing me and teaching me about my gifts as a healer. And I am so blessed and honored to have my angels and my amazing spirit team helping me on the other side of the veil to do this work for humanity. And I am so honored to be chosen. And I do not take this work lightly. I've never taken anything in this life more seriously than this work that I do. I am a master healer, a queen, and I am the skeleton key to unlocking our freedom. I need to work with other souls that are on these levels and working miracles and that are living in a high frequency love vibration and not controlled by demonic entities or archon entities. So I've had to overcome my fears of speaking and to speak my truth, because I know that by being my authentic self and sharing my truth with the world, that it empowers others that have gifts to plug into their gifts and to shine their light into the world and to go to these levels, to ascend and transmute and perform the alchemy to free ourselves from the past conditionings and programming and traumas of the third dimension. I've been crying a lot, and I have been... Yesterday was the hardest day for me. I had a really sick feeling when Karina texted me. I'd never communicated with her before. I replied right away, "Is Derek okay?" She said no. I called her instantly and asked what happened, and I broke down crying, and I was so heartbroken and devastated. I was not there to shift blame. I don't know her. I don't want to blame a younger soul for any of this. I thanked her for being there for him and for calling me up and for telling me informing me, because she didn't have to do that. And I was, what she had been through with Derek was very traumatic. I didn't want to add to any of that trauma or project any of my hurt back onto her. So I just apologized to her and told her that I was sorry that she had to go through that, and she made it sound like there was a lot of abuse in their relationship, and that Derek had turned into a darker person after I left. And I don't think she understood that Derek cannot drink, and but I told her. And that Derek was not a bad person. He was not crazy. He was sensitive, and he was hyperactive and high-strung because he was so sensitive, and he didn't want to be hurt. So he would kind of hurt himself or hurt others. Ultimately, I know that that's what happened, and what ended up, he was too sensitive to feel like he was hurting people that he loved, and he felt that with Karina, and I realized that he felt that with me, even though I had forgiven him. I forgave him before I left, and I told him that before he died, before he left this realm. I'm still struggling to accept it. I know he has higher plan with God, and I didn't understand at first, because I just really saw the light in him, and I knew he could do so much on earth, and I wanted to see him shining bright as his highest and best self on his highest ascension timeline in the perfect world, in the free world. And I wanted, in another timeline, he is. In another timeline, we got through this, and everything comes back to the light. Everything does, and we are so a part of God, and so blessed for all of these experiences. My prayers are with his mother. I've been channeling to her so much. Chris Hall. She has lost her husband and Derek's father, and recent suicide of his uncle, Justin Hall, and the death of his grandfather, and just so many souls are leaving, and she has had so much heartbreak. I love her, and I always loved her. I always will love her. It's been difficult because I know Derek and Derek wanted me to be her in so many ways, and I had a higher mission that I didn't know about, but I not that anyone's mission is higher than anyone else's, but I mean that I had incarnated here to do this work that I do. And not to be in the matrix, and to be as grounded in an earth goddess as she was. I'm very spirit goddess, and she was such a good mom, and he loved her, and he loves her so much, and always will. And I'm so sorry for her loss. I know how beautiful Derek is and was. He was such a pure heart and a beautiful soul. He was so smart. He read so many books. He was caring. He was too good for this world. He's too fucking good for this world. And he was an earth angel. And many didn't understand him or respect him, or they called him crazy, or he called himself crazy. He was not. I saw the real Derek. And I'm so sorry, Chris. I'm so sorry. He is a beautiful child. He's a beautiful baby. He was an angel in my life, and I learned many lessons, and he's helped me grow and become a better person. And he was there for me through the hardest parts of my life, and through the beginning of my spiritual awakening. It was so hard to outgrow our relationship and to separate. And I thought, and I only did it because I knew that we would reunite again in light. And I thought that it would happen on Earth and in this realm. I really thought we would be friends again, and that I would see him happier and healed, and that he was working through it. I didn't realize how much in the darkness he was. So, I know that Derek is helping me to grow in spirit even now, and I'm helping to transmute the densities that he carried to help him ascend into heaven with God. I'm so blessed to have these powers and gifts. I use all of these powers for good and for all of humanity, and that's why I have them. That's why God gives them to me, is because I have a sacred heart. And I'm so sacred that I don't want to do it anymore where I'm in mirror realm and they are just projecting on me their own blockages, because the light in me shines so bright that I become a mirror to show them what they need to heal. But I've already healed through it. I've already gone through that. So I need to be where I can be seen and acknowledged for where I'm at. And this is coming up back to the leveling up and growing into our gifts. I know that we are supposed to unite as healers. I am a chosen one of God. I incarnated here to unite God's army of angels and the healers. Spiritual healers are the future for New Earth. We are essential and we are sacred. And I want to put together a mission for all of us to take back our power and to free humanity from the chains of slavery. We have to create healthy environments all over Gaia where Mother Nature is living in freedom and sovereignty and high vibrational health with us, and that we are no longer doing things or saying things that are counterproductive to our united mission. So much has been channeling through me. This has been a very long video. I see it's 1:33, and I have gone on for a little bit. Now it is 3:33, and I'm gonna close it for today. Yes, I'm just waking up this morning. I've been heavy grieving. I was throwing up all day yesterday. I couldn't hold anything down. I have been crying on JP's shoulder. He's been such a hero for me. I love this man so much. He's such an angel. I'm so grateful for him and for our connection. He's the Mindy to my Mork. He has soul contracted to help me do so much healing and to help all of us. I have been helping him on his spiritual path, and he says and he's, you know, I'm so proud of him. He's gone vegan, and he says his third eye is wide open. He said that to me this morning, and that he sees me and perceives me and knows of my work, my divine work with Source, and that he supports me and is there for me. And he was my best friend. Like, I met Mike. Mike was my angel, and I stayed in that parking garage for like a week, and I met JP, and JP was there through I was my authentic self with JP, and as I was with Mike, and I became infinity when I left Derek. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to free myself and live my spiritual truth and be who I really am in the world, because it was so hard for me with Derek projecting past me on to awaken me for so long. And so JP was a godsend, and I can't imagine my life without him. All this time later, this year and a half, and there's been so many angels in my path that have helped me to rise to these levels. I really am Queen of the Angels, and I can prove this because I have so many. Derek has left this realm to be my angel on the other side, and I'm still coming to terms with that, and it's hard to accept right now because this wasn't what I wanted. For him, I wanted Derek to be here. And he is here. He's more here than he was before. He's free now. And I know this. Victoria left the realm to be my angel on the other side, and I realized that she has been. She has been this past 2 years. Her energy I carry with me. JP said it yesterday, that when our souls go, our loved ones are left with the best parts of them. The parts that make us stronger, not the parts that make us weaker. How we cross realms and pass the torch to each other and move in and out of this is so beautiful. I trust Source completely. We are living in this magical hologram when we are connected to our highest selves, and we are living healed and sovereign. We are aware. We've all got gifts, and it's time that we do the inner work and we find them. I will not give up. It's been so hard for me in this incarnation and past ones, and I've had so much to transmute. But I know that I'm at the point where I am unstoppable, because everything has tried to break me. It ultimately made me stronger, and I have God, and I use my powers for good. That's why I have so many gifts and powers. And I am doing what I can to be a way shower in this, and growing in this process and learning. We are all teachers and we are all students. And I say this a lot, actually, and my friend Kathy said it back to me yesterday when I was crying to her about Derek, and she gave me a hug, and she said that, and I knew that that was her speaking me back to me. And she listens to me, and I know she does. She's a powerhouse, and when she really takes control of her healing too, watch out, world, because she's survived and come through some crazy stuff, and I see so much light in her. Oh my God, Kathy is an amazing soul. I'm really blessed to have come through and found my place and where I belong in the world, and my connection to Source and my gifts for humanity. It took me a long time to feel lost in the world, and in order to find myself, and it took all the love of God and every angel in heaven to help me, but we've made it, and the curtain has opened, and here I am. I love you, and I hope that you'll love me too. It takes a lot of love and sacrifice to do what we do. We are all pure of heart, deep down. We are all light. And the light in me honors the light in you. And I know that I cannot be free until we are all free. So, despite all the shade that they throw at me, I will continue to come into my light and to shine. I love you. Keep it up. We are making miracles, and we are changing and creating new paradigms through our ascensions. We are miracle workers and creator gods and goddesses. We have inherited the world, and it was always ours. They tried to hijack our hologram, and they're just pedophiles and reptilians, you know, like, we're so much more powerful than them. The light is your freedom. I love you. Your light is beautiful. The journey is within. I'm only a guide into helping you see the light that you have that's within you. I am the mothership, but you are your own mothership. And don't forget that. Don't get lost or sidetracked in these false gurus that are asking for you to worship them. They are not of the light. anyone that is truly of the light will show you that your salvation is within you, and we are all made of God. Your light is beautiful. Namaste. I love you. Please pray for Derek and for me and for his family, his mother, and for his other ex-girlfriend, and for everyone that has had timelines with this beautiful soul. I knew the real him, and I saw the love that he was, even though he didn't know how to express it or shine it. I helped him so much. I wish that he would have seen that too. Okay, I keep trying to say goodbye, but I keep so much to heal and so much to work through. I'll do another video soon. I love you.